Welcome you back on the Zolman's Best One Tire and Auto Care pregame show. Brendan King on the field, joined by a very special guest. It is Chicago Cubs hitting instructor Rachel Folden with us here in South Bend this week. Rachel, you're making your stops around the minor league affiliates. South Bend, your latest stop here this week. And I guess just to give some fans some input into where your job takes you and all the miles you go, how does your schedule work and as a hitting instructor with the Chicago Cubs, especially around the affiliates?
So basically my job is just to make sure that the hitting coaches have what they need. So I'm a hitting coordinator, so just to make sure that they have support. We come in, we help, we throw some batting practice, we help them with some of the game planning stuff. It's just really a supporting role to all of the hitting coaches in all of the affiliates. So we go up and down from the Dominican Republic all the way up to AAA.
And you just mentioned, we were talking off the air, that with the MLB draft coming along, you're heading back home to Arizona here shortly, and you're going to work with the new guys. So how much does that excite you that every year a new flock of Cubs come in and you get to learn all these new personalities?
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, you can really get your hands on them early, and you can see the growth throughout the system, and that's really the best part for us on the PD side, is just to see where they start, what we envision them being, and then trying our best to get them to that spot. It's really fun.
Now, this interview, it's a long time coming. Now, to give some fans just some intel, when I was 16, I was one of the broadcasters for the Chicago Bandits professional softball team in high school. At that point, you were still in your professional softball career, playing along with the Bandits. Those were some fun times in Rosemont, just beside O'Hare. So your softball career, of course, a Hall of Famer at Marshall, pretty awesome. Just talk about those times and the kind of memories you had playing pro fast pitch.
I mean, playing was awesome. I think you can talk to anybody who's here who's played at the highest level, whether it be in baseball or softball. We always look back on those times and just remember the good things. You remember some parts of your career, but a lot of it's just the people that you were surrounded with. And that's what I miss the most, is just being surrounded by all of those girls and going to battle with them.
We were talking around the batting cage yesterday, and you're like, you're one of the only people that have ever seen me hit, which is pretty ironic. The transition from going to pro fast pitch into the coaching side, I know you opened your own facility, but then getting into the game of baseball with an actual organization, what was that like?
A lot to learn. You know, the actual game is played. It's very similar, right? So you still have the same emotions when you step in the box that players do, whether it be baseball or softball. You have, the same thing that goes into preparing. But the structure of the organization was a big shock for me. There's a lot of levels, whereas when I played softball, you just went straight from college to pro, and there was one level, and you just had to kind of figure it out. And here we have so much more of a focus on development, and we're way more patient. And so that was something that I had to get used to a little bit. And then also just like learning where everybody is in their career. There's so many more people to coach now, right? Versus coaching high schoolers or middle schoolers, where you pretty much just kind of can mold them the way that you want. These players have their own careers. They're really good, right? They do things really well on their own. They have their own hitting influences outside of the Cubs organization too. And you have to be very respectful of that and kind of blend all of those together to help get the player to where we want him to be.
Rachel Folden, Chicago Cubs hitting instructor, is with us. Rachel, let's dive into a couple guys in the South Bend Cubs right now before we go. Beginning with Kevin Alcantara. You saw that 2-home-run game, including the grand salami a couple nights ago off the batter's eye. Just how unique of a player is he to coach and instruct?
I mean, he's special. I think the part that, we can all see the talent. We can all see the athleticism. I think the part that people don't always see is how smart he is and how intelligent and how hard of a worker he is. That's been the most special part for me. I remember I was down in the ACL and we had just traded for him. And so when he came here, it was like talking to him, I'm like, wow, this guy really understands baseball, and he's very smart and he's very, very driven. So those players are always really fun to work with.
Ed Howard's 5 for 11 in the series. It's great to see Eddie back, of course, just healthy. But the fact that he has been so impressive, especially hitting the ball the other way into right field. What's your take on his stage this season right now?
I mean, it's just, like you said, it's really nice to just to get him back on the field and get him healthy. I know I had a conversation with him today. I'm just so proud of him for, 12 months away from baseball is a long time, and that's hard on any player. So just to get him back and playing every day and trying to get his body to hold up, and he has done a great job. He's worked really hard. The baseball stuff, that's going to come back like riding a bike, but just getting him through the season healthy, that's really our main focus on him, and it's really nice to watch him just, flying around the bases, making plays at second base and shortstop, and just, standing in the box, and he's had a really, really nice series.
Last guy, Alexander Canario, back in South Bend, started on rehab, now on the active roster. Boy, he takes some big cuts. But it's also fun to see him healthy after what was a pretty scary injury in the offseason. What's the biggest thing for him that he needs to work on right now to get him back up climbing?
I mean, just same thing. Just stay healthy. Number one, get him on the field, get him used to playing every day, and then two, at the plate, just getting his timing back. You can see like some of the throws he made last night. Like the body physically is really, really in a good spot. So just getting him on time at the plate, that's really all we look for, and that takes time, right? And he had 2 injuries he had to come back from in the same play. So again, another guy that's extremely smart and extremely fun to work with, works his tail off. We have some guys in this organization with some really good makeup, and it's been a really, really fun job for me to go around, and they're really easy to work with.
This interview was a long time coming. Since 2012, we got it done. Rachel Folden, Chicago Cubs hitting instructor. Rachel, we appreciate the time. Safe travels. It's the Zolman's Best One Tire and Auto Care pregame show. First pitch coming up soon.